know whether that was a misgear by Nigel, but you saw that Penske get the power to the road so much faster than the Lola driven by Mansell. But Mansell was able to just turn right, take the corner away from Emerson, the little flick to the right, and then pull away. But you can see now that the pressure is beginning to be turned up by Emerson and Stefan Johansson, who's still... No, he doesn't have fast as that, but he almost has. Stefan is quite happy just to sit there.
Fastest lap now turned by Fittipaldi at 111.5. So Fittipaldi is beginning to pick up the pace and put the pressure on Nigel Mansell. First, second, and third are the battle on the race course. The only true battle at the moment, and they run right together as Roger Penske keeps track of his car. Again, traffic just ahead.
Johnny Unser, but look at Emerson. He pounces again. Now Emerson takes a wider line on the way in, and he tries it again. He's side by side.
Same move that he tried last time. Can he keep it? He goes all the way off into the dirt. Johnny Unser just in front of him. Nigel Mansell may take advantage of that, and Fittipaldi has to drop in behind.
Well, we see it again. Fittipaldi gets traction down to the road better and shoots away, but Mansell knows the piece of road that he wants to use, and he's making things difficult for Emerson, as he is entitled to, because he's leading the race.
Now first through fourth all together on the race course, with Mario Andretti sitting in fifth and closing in as well. You see a good example here of how good the Penske cars are getting power down to the track, as again Fittipaldi works all over the back end of Nigel Mansell's car. Why, Derek Daly, are these Penske chassis so good all of a sudden?
Well, it would be easy to say it's packaging, but it is. All the details of this Penske chassis this year are just better, I believe, in racing conditions than the Lola. I think the traction is better. It's very good under braking. It's very good under full fuel load. That is the key to why this car all the time is good in racing conditions. Put 40 gallons of fuel into it, and it doesn't change as much as the Lola does. So I believe Mansell will fight this car a lot more than the Penske drivers will.
This time through, Fittipaldi decides to line up. He's telegraphed twice now to Nigel Mansell what his intent may be. Of course, it could simply be a feint. But now Fittipaldi comes up to line up behind Mansell once again, and Johansson and Paul Tracy close in. You can see that first through fourth are well separated from fifth place now.
Emerson checks his mirror, sees where Stefan is. As long as Stefan Johansson is not making a charge on Fittipaldi, he can take his ideal wider racing lines to try and make another attack on Mansell. And now, of course, it's a four-car train with Tracy hanging on to the back of these first four.
A furious battle at the front of the field once again, engaging traffic. That's Kevin Cogan, the 11 car that they come around. First time he has been on a road course since 1989. As he continues his recovery from serious injuries suffered in Indianapolis, but it's good to see Kevin back in a car. Jan Bikas, a comparison, Lola to Penske.
Well, when Derek was talking about the packaging that the Penske car has, the technical description that people are talking about here is downforce to drag ratio. What that means is the Penske car makes a little more downforce for a given amount of drag. Now, we also mentioned, or Paul, you mentioned that you thought the Ford had a little more power. So what we're seeing is about equal speed down the straightaway, but the Penske car has a little more downforce, and that is why he's able to get the power down a little bit better.
Fight continues at the front of the field. Fittipaldi took a look there for a second, dropped back, but still continues to chase Nigel Mansell, who has led now 21 laps of the 102-lap scheduled distance here. Lap 32 should be when they start to take a very hard look at getting into the pits. And once they do that, they have to make sure they get in very quickly. Paul Tracy looks to the inside of Stefan Johansson, then darts back to the outside.
Here's where Stefan got stuck the last time, but it's Emerson that gets stuck this time. Look at Tracy.
Oh, it worked for Paul Tracy. He moved way over to the left on Johansson and then came back across to the right. I think Johansson must have thought that he was going to get bottled up, but he didn't. He came screaming back into the other side and moves into third place.
And that is what you call seizing the moment. Sometimes the door is left open for a fraction of a second, and Paul Tracy just absolutely bolted through and takes the pass from Stefan Johansson.
Look at that one more time. Now watch Paul Tracy move all the way to one side.
Tells him he's there. Bentley moves aside, but now remember, Bentley can't drive off the racetrack, so he tries to stay out of everybody's way. Now Tracy is putting this pass together. Look how wide he is. Wide he is. Johansson slows down, and Tracy, using the traction of that Penske, just blows by him.
So a change here at the top of the order as Paul Tracy gets around Stefan Johansson. It's Mansell, Fittipaldi, Tracy, and Johansson and Fittipaldi at the top of the field. We now have 23 laps complete in the Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200. Back at the Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200, Nigel Mansell holds a slight lead over Emerson Fittipaldi. He has led right from the green flag. 24 laps are now complete. But you can see by the interval leaderboard that the entire front order, with the exception, of course, of Mario Andretti and Robbie Gordon, who are sitting back some distance, are all right together on the course. Jan Bikas, you have an update.
Well, Paul, after that exchange between Nigel Mansell and then also between Emerson Fittipaldi, when the two of them were dicing, Emerson has called in and complained of blocking. Now, you both described you didn't think it was blatant blocking, but remember, in lieu of what happened in the drivers' meeting, that all the drivers, if there's anything suspect, they will call in just in case, so that their crews will appeal to IndyCar, hoping maybe something would be done. So we know it's not flagrant, but all drivers will try anything for an advantage.
Hey, talk about a team sport. Get the rest of the team in your corner here.
We'll keep an eye on Mansell, Fittipaldi, and Tracy as Kevin Cogan's car being pushed back into the paddock area. And we'll get an update on why he is out. Kevin Cogan sitting on the edge of the wall. And now on board with Scott Brayton, this new angle. You can see how the steering arms are working on this car and the whole front suspension movement, but also take a look ahead at the sky.
Yes.
Clouds moving into the area.
We mentioned those earlier on, but you're right. You see the suspension. That's the push rod activating the shock absorbers, which are up under the cowling on the front of the tub of this car. Now, just see how much movement there is in this. That actually is quite a bit, considering these cars are so stiffly sprung these days. But Scott Brayton broke his toe here earlier, jogging, trying to stay fit, jogging out of the hotel through some bushes and stubbed his toe on a concrete block. So I don't think he's in too much pain, but I don't think he was that impressed.
Fascinating view of how the front suspension members work. Perhaps in the future we can move it back even a little more, right until the crew says, okay, you've seen just about all we're going to let you see of our suspension. Let's watch as he goes into the curve.
See that big jump for the suspension. Right here, which is the end of turn 8 and 9, he crashed on Friday with Roberto Guerrero. Guerrero was trying to avoid Matsushita, who spun. Guerrero backed off. Brayton didn't see the yellow flag and just plowed into the back of him. That's why you see a black nose cone on that car as opposed to the standard Amway pink one. Because, of course, they had to get a hurried repair job done. Now Mansell is under pressure here.
And Fittipaldi moves way wide as they come into the first corner. Looking for racing room. Mansell loses control, locks it up, comes off into the chicane area. Fittipaldi goes into the lead. Mansell's car should be undamaged. They try to get that cone out from under the wing, and now he should be able to go ahead. Coming straight through the chicane. He's supposed to stop there. The ruling was there was supposed to be a lengthy stop of perhaps as many as 10 seconds. He did not do that. We'll see how the officials react to that one. But Mansell, of course, wanted to get back in pursuit just as fast as he could.
And you could see it beginning to unfold as he accelerated out of turn 9. He moved to the center of the road, then he moved to the right. Emerson had to go down the outside, and Mansell was off the clean line with the good grip, locked up the brakes, and had no recourse except to sail through the chicane and catch. Now this is where it unfolded. Look at this. Mansell moves to the inside. He's entitled to do that. He's not changing his line. Emerson goes down the outside. Now Mansell is on the gray. That's it. He locks up the rear brakes, catches the marker cone. Now watch his hand. Look at his hand. Look. He's saying to the official, get rid of that marker cone as soon as possible. I'm out of here. Now where do they have to stop, Paul? At the stop sign or just stop?
Somewhere within there, there's supposed to be a 10-second interval, and that's what I was questioning in my own mind. The IndyCar control is saying that he was there long enough to account for that. Jan Bikas, you were listening to that discussion in the drivers' meeting this morning.
Yes, Paul, what the determination is that you have to be there between 7 and 10 seconds because they time the cars going through the complex. That's how long it takes. You don't have to stop specifically at that stop. So as long as he was there, as IndyCar is saying, for between 7 and 10 seconds, he should be okay.
And while they were taking the cone out, that time elapsed, so they've said, go ahead. This is the onboard camera view, same path.
Okay, Emerson goes down the outside. Now Nigel locks the rears. See that? He's out of control. Emerson goes through the corner, and Nigel has to stop.
And that mistake cost Mansell, in terms of real race course time, 8.5 seconds and dropped him back into 4th place. His teammate Mario Andretti is the next in the line behind him. You see Mansell now runs all alone. And this